Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Thursday night installment of SPTV Live here from the UK. My name is Apostate Alex. I used to be the Director of Public Book Sales at the Church of Scientology in London. Now I speak out about my experiences, give other people a platform to do the same through my blog, scientologybusiness.com, and here on YouTube. So welcome everybody. This is a live stream, so thank you for joining. Put your comments in the chat on that side and we will pull them up and do Q&A and all that sort of stuff. Before I jump into this, I do need to let you know that if you want to support the channel, like, share, subscribe. That's the best way of doing it. If you want to support financially, you can buy me a coffee with the link in the description. There's also now a PayPal option as well. But without further ado, let's jump into this. So firstly, since my last stream, we did actually hit 8,000 subscribers. So this is where we're at now, 8,044. So thank you so much, everybody, for your support. The next step is 10,000. Let's go for 10K. When I hit 10,000 subscribers, YouTube then gives me the option to be able to do fundraisers and raise money for the Aftermath Foundation. You can't actually have that. You can't do that. That's not an option for YouTubers until you hit 10,000 subscribers. So let's hit 10,000. And when we do, I'll do a fundraiser video for the Aftermath Foundation. How's that sound, guys? Today, I wanted to talk to you firstly about the news that came out today. As you are all probably already aware, the actor Danny Masterson was sentenced today, having done some terrible things to some women and was convicted earlier this year. He was sentenced today to 30 years in prison as a minimum. He was sentenced to life and he won't be eligible for parole for 30 years, which means he won't be getting out of prison for at least 30 years. His sentence is actually life. So that's great news. And justice has indeed been served. So today, I think we need to just take a minute to reflect on that and remember that Scientology played a huge role in preventing or trying to prevent the Jane Does from reporting his atrocious behavior. Scientology is vital to this case. And it is due to Judge Olmedo's amazing work and understanding of the way Scientology work that she allowed Scientology evidence into the case. And Scientology are very much a key part of this. And so it's a huge day for everybody in Scientology. And of course, for the Jane Does, the victims, justice has been served. And I hope that this can bring some sort of solace or closure, even though it doesn't make it any better. Of course, what happened to them is horrible, but Danny Masterson will be spending the rest of his life in prison. So I hope that does show to other people that justice can be served in these sorts of cases. Frank Woolrich, thank you so much for your super chat. Great work, Alex. Keep up the great work, buddy. Thank you. I really do appreciate your support. It does mean a lot. I'm trying my hardest and I'm trying to do what I can to talk about Scientology, how it operates, how it conducts its business and what it does to people here in the UK particularly, and the Commonwealth and in Europe. I firstly wanted to start off with a bit of a recap from an article that I published yesterday. If you go to scientologybusiness.com, which is my new blog, you will see the articles that I post about Scientology and its operations here in Europe. Yesterday, I published this article, Stay Away, Greek Warning Issued About Scientology. If you want to read the full thing, you can do so on the Scientology Business website. Essentially, long story short, the Greek Synod, so the people in charge of the Church of Greece, issued a public statement yesterday warning people about Scientology. Now, Scientology actually was raided in Greece in, I believe, the early 90s. Let me just double check that so I can get my facts straight. 1997, they were raided and there was a court case. And it was determined by the Greek judicial system that Scientology, quote, was a profit-making group that endangers the mental and physical well-being of its members. The judgment also said Scientology causes a personality change in its members and interferes with family relationships. the liquidation of Scientology assets was ordered. Scientology was forced to close. However, that hasn't stopped them from continuing to infiltrate Greek society and operate in Greece. They started an organization which they called the Center of Applied Philosophy of Greece. And through that organization, Scientology have been operating in Greece under the radar and pushing its social betterment programs such as Narconon, the Foundation for a Drug-Free World, Youth for Human Rights, and all of these other front groups that we all know about already. Yesterday, the Church of Greece issued a statement warning the public about these front groups and making it very, very clear that they are linked to Scientology, they are the work of Scientology, and they are dangerous, and people should stay away. That is the statement the Church of Greece issued yesterday. And if you want to read the statement in full, it is on Scientologybusiness.com. And this is the article to look out for. Stay away, Greek warning issued about Scientology. Elsewhere in Europe, something interesting happened today based on some work that I've been doing behind the scenes. Now, I submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to the Charities Commission here in the UK a couple of months ago, asking for an update on whether Scientology have attempted to overturn, appeal, or apply again for charity status here in the UK. For a little bit of context, the Scientology is not considered tax exempt here in the UK. It is considered harmful to the public. It applied in 1999 for charity status and it was rejected because in the UK to get tax exemption, you have to prove that your organization exists solely for the public benefit. There was a very big investigation. It actually has huge consequences on the Charity Commission's rulings when it comes to religion and religious organizations. That's available online for free and it has been since 1999. The Charity Commission basically said to Scientology, it's up to you to prove that you're for the public benefit, and they couldn't do so. The Charity Commission found that the practice of Scientology is beneficial to individuals, and it is not beneficial to society as a whole. It is not something that helps the greater, wider public, and therefore it was denied charity status. Charity status means tax exemption here in the UK. So Scientology currently operates through an Australian registered firm, even though they operate solely in the UK. They operate through COSRECI, which is the Church of Scientology Religious Education College Incorporated, registered in Australia. They funnel all of their activities in the UK through this organization, which means they are exempt from paying income tax because their earnings are considered foreign income by Australia. However, they do have to pay corporation tax and VAT, which is sales tax in the UK. Corporation tax is 25% of profits and VAT is about 20% on sales. So they do have to pay these taxes, and they are very good at making it seem like they're not turning over a great profit in the UK so they can get away with not paying too much corporation tax. It's something that looks completely legal and above board, but questionable when it comes to ethics and whether it's right or wrong. Now, I submitted another application to the Charity Commission a month ago in August, asking for some more information about the process that would be required for Scientology to overturn this 1999 decision by the Charity Commission. Today, the Charity Commission got back to me and I have published their statement in full on Scientology Business, and here we're going to go through it. On this stream. Charity Commission, Scientology cannot appeal tax-exempt status rejection. Essentially, long story short, the Charity Commission today confirmed that the Church of Scientology does not exist for the public benefit. They stand by their decision that they made in 1999. And in 1999, and basically it means they can't appeal that decision anymore. Too much time has gone by. They said in 1999, any appeal to the Commission's decision to refuse to register the Church of Scientology would be to the High Court. The timeframes for appeal would have been set out in the civil procedural rules applicable at the time and is usually between 2 and 10 years, depending on the type of claim. Now, the rejection was made in 1999, meaning over 20 years have passed. I think 1999, 09, 19. Yeah. So over 20 years have passed since it was rejected tax exemption here in the UK, which means so much time has passed. They are unable to appeal that decision. That means if Scientology want to go for tax exempt status here in the UK again, they will have to make a new application. Now, that doesn't sound like too much of a problem. However, you have to understand that in applying for charity status, you have to prove again that you exist for the public benefit. It is a very stringent process where the Charity Commission review all of the evidence. They actually got back to me with this reply today saying, on average, from the point of application, it takes 46 working days. Now, bear in mind, there's only 5 working days a week. That is several months, probably 2 months, something like that. I haven't done the maths. Through which the Charity Commission will review whether the organization benefits the public. Now, with this previous ruling, it is likely that this length of time will be extended if Scientology were to apply for charity status again, because they will have to consider the previous ruling in 1999. They will also have to consider recent rulings by the UK court. In 2013, Scientology had a victory in the UK court system by being able to provide religious wedding ceremonies at their London Org Chapel, the building I used to work in. Ali Calcioli and Louisa Hodkin, who are 2 former colleagues of mine, applied to basically get married in a religious ceremony in the London church. They were denied. It went up to the Supreme Court, and the definition of religion in British law was changed as a result of that law case, that legal lawsuit. And so what that meant was Scientology could perform religious wedding ceremonies. That was a huge victory for Scientology 10 years ago. And earlier this year in January, they had another victory in a tax case. Essentially, Scientology were applying for relief on certain local authority taxes based on its property. The local rates is basically a tax that's put on businesses and business property every year. And Scientology wanted exemption for that, because if you are a place of public worship, you are exempt from paying 80% of that tax. Now, the court case, actually, I went into detail about this on another article on Scientology Business. Go and look it up if you want to. But essentially, that case led to Scientology being declared a place of public worship, which means they got this minor tax victory. However, they are still not fully tax exempt. They have to pay corporation tax, VAT, and so on, like I mentioned earlier. Today's response from the Charity Commission makes it clear that if they were to apply again, because it would have to be a new application, those things would be considered, but it would also be considered that they were rejected in the previous ruling. The Charity Commission reaffirmed that they do not believe Scientology exists for the public benefit, and they completely shut down the idea of an appeal, saying it simply was not possible. So that's the update here, guys. Scientology is not tax exempt here, and it won't be anytime soon. I do believe it's only a matter of time before Scientology apply for tax exemption in the UK, and I do believe it will be an interesting case to follow. Scientology is under a lot of immense pressure and strain in the US particularly. There are calls to revoke its tax exempt status with the IRS. The Greek authorities, as I mentioned earlier, are also onto Scientology, warning people against the group and trying to ban them. It is seen by the UK government as universally harmful to people's spiritual and mental and physical well-being. It is not going to be an easy case, but Scientology do like to throw a lot of money and a lot of very well-experienced lawyers at these things, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do manage to get some sort of recognition or exemption at some point. But we know for now they have not made that application. The Charity Commission statement today makes it very clear that they haven't had any communication whatsoever from the Church of Scientology since 1999, and it has not seen any evidence that they are preparing a new application under the entity they did so in 1999 called the Church of Scientology England and Wales Limited. So that's the update. Let's have a little look at some of these super chats. East Grinstead Lad, aka CO Bilf, invoking the intercession of the blessed Theotokos and praying that all heed the wise warning of the Holy Synod. Thank you so much for your super chat, CO Bilf. I do appreciate your support, and well said. I do find that quite funny. Belinda Bourrier, Alex, you're amazing. I'm sure Scientology is pooping their pants because of your work. Big hugs. Thank you so much. And thank you for your support. Goldie here with the coffees. If you want to support me, you can buy me a coffee here. Absolutely. There's also a link to PayPal in the description if you are so inclined. If you want to support Goldie, I have merch in my merch store. If you go to apostatealex.com and go to the merch store tab, there's a whole Goldie merch collection. All of the proceeds from the sales of Goldie merch go straight to her. So if you want to support Goldie, go and get yourself some Goldie merch from apostatealex.com. It's a nice way of showing your support to her, because we couldn't do this without her. Goldie is amazing. We love her. And thank you, Goldie, for always being here and helping us. Moonage Daydream question: is there any evidence that Scientology funnels any money through Front Group's registered charities, as in how Scientology funds UK Narconon, and also acts as landlord and rents out buildings to front groups? What an excellent question. There is actually an article that I published on Scientology Business a couple of days ago outlining the corporate structure of Scientology here in the UK. There is a map that shows how COSRECI, which is the core organization, is linked to a number of other for-profit and non-profit organizations, such as SOR, which is Sea Org Reserves. There's two of those. There's SOR Services, and there's SOR Holdings, I think is the other one, UK Limited. There's Nestor Investments, which owns property and rents them to the Church of Scientology. And they are all linked, and many others. They're all linked to Scientology through OSA and the board of directors, who are pretty much all Sea Org members that work for Scientology full time. So in answer to your question, Moonage, yes, there is a way to show how Scientology funnels its money between all of these groups back to the International Church of Scientology over in the US. If you look at their accounts, which again is on Scientologybusiness.com, you can actually see that the Church of Scientology International and Celebrity Center International, which is based in Hollywood, have been loaning money to the UK Church for decades. The UK Church currently owes the US Church $100 million. The US Church is loaning money to its overseas entities, and the overseas entities are paying this money back with interest, which means the tax-exempt Church of Scientology International is profiting off loaning money to overseas entities. That is a fact. You can see it as evidence in the accounts of the Church of Scientology Religious Education College Incorporated, which is currently registered in Australia, but operating here in the UK. Excellent question. And I've got the receipts. They're on Scientologybusiness.com. Wise Angel, fab news. So how come they still get council tax exemption? Again, another great question. So the local rates exemption is based on whether their buildings are open for public worship. Now, it was determined that Scientology buildings were open for public worship based on their Sunday service. The Sunday service is a free thing that supposedly anybody can attend at a Church of Scientology chapel. Now, because of the Sunday service, even though it was reported in the decision by the courts that nobody actually attends the Sunday service, it was technically open for the public to attend as a religious worship ceremony, and therefore that allowed them to gain that status as a place of public religious worship, which means they therefore are exempt from paying 80% of their local rates. However, that doesn't fall into the Charity Commission's domain, which requires you prove a public benefit for your services and what you do. So that is why I believe Scientology are preparing to make a fresh new application for charity status, and that is why I believe it will be an interesting case to follow. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is just a short one to bring you a little update. If you're interested in following Scientology Business, you can get email updates from whenever I upload a new article. If you go to Scientologybusiness.com, let me throw this up here again. This is the website, Scientologybusiness.com. You can see the sort of articles I've been doing exposing the EU, UK, and Commonwealth operations of Scientology. There's a fascinating article I wrote yesterday about the Greek warning I mentioned. There was also one about fraud and how Scientology is linked to the crown jewels. I did a video on that as well if you're interested. Zach Morgan Zach Morgan is your lawyer friend. He's on YouTube. We are doing a series together dissecting the staff contracts you have to sign to join staff at the Scientology organization. So the first episode of that is available on my channel, and we go through the contracts. We are going to be continuing that series very soon, so stay tuned for that. This here is the article I told you about, the complex web. If you scroll down, there is a board here you can see, which is interactive, and you can zoom in and you can see all of the organizations that Scientology operate through here in the UK, and you can see how they link together and how they are managed by boards of directors who are all linked to Scientology. Now, one thing also to note, that since launching ScientologyBusiness.com, they haven't been very happy about it. The website has sustained over 3,400 attacks. They are trying to hack into the back end of the system, and it is thanks to you guys that I was able to increase the cybersecurity of the website. Thank you so much for supporting with that. And hopefully they won't take the website down, but they are very much trying to gain access to the admin panel in a sustained, continued and planned campaign to try and take the website down. Now, if ScientologyBusiness.com does ever go down, please let me know on Twitter or here on YouTube. I should get notifications, and I have put things in place that mean that shouldn't happen, but you never know. They could increase the attacks somehow that will take the servers down, but we'll keep an eye on it. But Scientology don't like the fact that I'm doing this. And yet all I'm doing is sharing publicly available information. I have shared documents available for free on Companies House. I have shared documents and accounts from the Australian Charities and Non-Profits Commission. I have shared information that is only available online for free. So if they don't like what I'm doing, maybe they should have a think about what they're doing, because that's all I'm reporting on and they really don't like it. So guys, if you want to support Scientology Business, this project I'm working on, please go to PayPal or buy me a coffee. But the best way is liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff here on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support, everybody. And I will see you all very soon for another fantastic video that I have planned coming out in the next couple of days. Bye for now.